Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shir. We're following the Deer Shoe and in Shabbos Memhei Amud Beis. That's today's Amud. Bezos Hashem Nasu V'Nitzlech Latzlochas Klal Yisrael. We are in the middle of the sugya of Muktzeh, learning about the Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. That's a good few dapim. Yeah, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda is always more machmir about Muktzeh. Rabbi Shimon more lenient. One major nafkamina is, according to Rabbi Yehuda, anything you set aside from your mind on Shabbos, before Shabbos, you are not allowed to use or even move, right? That is Muktzeh Midaitoi. Well, Rabbi Shimon holds that's not so. Rabbi Shimon believes in all types of Muktzahs, but not just because you set it aside from your mind. One topic we had now, for example, was Doche Biyodayim. Yeah? Let's say when a person put aside grogers and tzimukim, for example, he took some fresh grapes and he put them on the roof in order to dry them out. He knows that eventually it will be nidche, meaning it will be inedible at some point. And then eventually, after the finished drying, they'll become raisins. So because it's doiche biyadayim, and now it's going to be dry and inedible for some time, then possibly, we didn't yet get to the maskana. Yeah, no, at the end, we were not sure if it's Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Shimon are saying it, no, but it's where the wind is blowing towards, and that's actually going to be the next stage, but possibly, Rabbi Shimon holds that Grogos Tzimukim would be Muktzeh on Shabbos, yeah? You can't take them in the middle of the process. Let's say you're great, you want to say, yeah, I want to take them now, use them, do something with them, eat them, even though not so tasty. So still, is it or isn't it Muktzeh according to Rabbi Shimon? Because could be the dichui biyadayim, you did a physical action that pushes them away, and also they're really inedible. Yeah. So then maybe according to Rabbi Shimon as well, this would be considered Muktzeh. That's the topic, right? Now, Bomine, we're going to come to another question, and then everything will be answered together. Bomine Rabbi Shimon bar Rebbe Merebi. Important to know the names over here. Actually, it's one of these words. You better remember the name. Rabbi Shimon, the son of Rebbe, is asking a question, yeah, from his father, Rebbe. Yeah, Rabbi Yehuda Nossi. What's the question? Patzilei Tmoro l'Rabbi Shimon Mau. What's Patzilei Tmoro? So you can see Rashi inside. Patzilei Tmoro Tmorim nilkotim koidim bishulon v'kointzin oisim besalim shoisim murulovin v'en misbashlos me'elein. Yes, Patzilei Tmoro are basically, these are Tmorim, right? Yeah, that you want to also ripen them, but you put them in like a basket made out of like a koshikol of a lulav. But as opposed to grogos and tzimukim, and this is actually something I saw in Rashi at the end of Beitza. This is more brought down. I saw the Rashi inside and saw Marshal. There's a difference here. That's a question. Those tmorim right now are not yet ripe, and you put them in that basket to hasten the process of them ripening. So let's say you took these tmorim that are not misbashlos, however, some people eat them this way. And you put them now aside in order to make sure that now when they are concentrated in that basket, that's going to speed up their ripening. And the question is, what would Rabbi Shimon say then? Would Rabbi Shimon hold of Muktzeh, yes or no? And what's the question? The question is, we are now assuming that by grogos of tzimukim, at least possibly, yeah, grogos v'tzimukim, maybe according to Rabbi Shimon, that is a problem, is Muktzeh, because you doiche beyadayim. Maybe here too, that's called being doiche. I set them aside, and I don't want to see them again until they finish the process of bishul. So maybe here too, it's called doiche beyadayim. You'd ask, why not? Right? No, it's not the same. Explains Rashi and the Marshal here, and Rashi over there. That's actually a sugya in many places in Kodshim. Dichui means what's to reject. It's not so much in English the same, but dichui in halacha means like to kick out, to remove from the current situation. Yeah, I was never kicked out of Harvard University. You know, I don't know what, because I was never kicked out. In other words, yeah, to be doiche means that it's in the process, it's in a good state, and I'm doiche it and I'm pushing it away. So when somebody has grogos v'tzimukim that are good and edible, no grogos, he has grapes that are good, he's setting them aside to now make them not good, and then at the end they'll be good again. He's pushing them away. He's deteriorating it. The shenken, these tmarim, they're not yet good. They never were. So that's not as much of a dichui, because I'm not doicha them. They were never yet right. So on the other hand, I am putting it aside in the basket for further. Yeah, it's more than just a bottle of wine for my son's birth. Yeah, in my example. So therefore, so what's halacha? Omer lei, ein muktzeh Rabbi Shimon el grogis v'tzmukin belvad. Ooh, that answered both questions together. Really, Rabbi Shimon holds el grogis v'tzimukim. Says Rashi, the dechina beyadayim v'lo yichozu. Very, very nice. Only by grogis v'tzimukim, that you are physically pushing them away, and at some point they were good, and now they will be not good, and I'm doing it on purpose. I'm pushing them and making them worse. That is, at that point, says Rabbi Shimon, I give in to Rabbi Yehuda. And I call that muktzeh. Mashenkin, when you have what? When you have something that was never so good, right now, I don't care. The fact that I put it aside, that alone is not enough for Rabbi Shimon to be called muktzeh. I'm not making it worse. It's bad. Right now it's bad and stays bad. And eventually it will be better. Because of that, I'm missing one ingredient here that's not called dichui, not enough, and therefore it's not called being muktzeh. Only when a mom is taking be'adayim, moving it to making, like a down curve, only then that's called, according to Rashi and Ibetza, that's called muktzeh, according to Rabbi Shimon. Doesn't Rabbi hold of muktzeh? Hey, wait a second. Where did Rabbi say that he doesn't hold of muktzeh? So Rashi says, you see that his own son, Rabbi Shimon, asked Rabbi, what's my father, my Rabbi? According to Rabbi Shimon, what would be Patzilah tomorrow? We assume that the son asked him, because he, knowing his father, that probably his father told him, we hold like Rabbi Shimon. So he's asking halacha within Rabbi Shimon. Like your son would ask you, what would the Rebbe say about that? Because he hold of the Rebbe. I'm saying, that's not. Is that so? Do we really know that Rebbe doesn't hold of muktzeh, like Rabbi Shimon? Vatnan, listen to the following Mishnah. This is the very, very last Mishnah in Beitza. Beitza Daf Mem, Mudalef, this is the very last Mishnah. Whenever we make Siyum and Beitza, I was here, that Mishnah, I know it. Vatnan, Ein mashkin v'shochtin es amidboriyos, aval mashkin v'shochtin es abaysos. So we all know that Shechita, Mekardin, is mutter on Yom Tov. Okay, very good. You can take a behem on Yom Tov itself. You want fresh meat for today's meat, for lunch, Shavuos, I don't know. You're allowed to shech the animal. Mashkin is just a side thing. Mashkin, you give the animal to drink, you mashka the animal water, because it's either afterwards to flay the skin. So now, the only problem is muktzeh. Why is there a problem with muktzeh? Ein mashkin, I'm repeating. Ein mashkin v'shochten samidborios. Let's say you have an animal who lives in the desert. Doesn't mean the desert. It lives far away. It's a chutznik. It's an animal that's literally farmed out. It's farmed out. It's for a long time. How long we're going to see soon? It's staying out of the house all the time. And all of a sudden, oh wow, look, surprise. That sheep, whoever, cutesy, the sheep came home. Oh, I didn't know, he came for Yom Tov. I'm not allowed to shecht it. Why? Because it was set aside, it was far away, and it wasn't on my mind, and therefore I'm not allowed to shecht it because it's muktzeh. Sounds like Rabbi Yehuda, of course. Yeah. Aval mashkin v'shochten es abaysos. An animal which is domesticated, I mean, I don't mean well-behaved, I mean that it's at home, in the farm all the time. It's not muktzeh. It's home all the time, and therefore I'm allowed to shecht, it's not muktzeh. Betanya. Now, that's all very nice, but what do you define as a chutz animal as opposed to a house animal? It says in the Brisa there, in Beit Samem, Eilen midborios, which ones are considered as the far away ones? Those animals that spend literally half a year or more out of the house. They leave home in Pesach, and they come back in Cheshvan. Revia is the rain. In the rain season, they're out of the house, they're home in the winter, and in the summer, they spend the entire summer, Americans, summer camp, but a long one, very, very long summer camp, from Pesach all the way to Cheshvan, they're outside. And they are like a surprise for me when I see them coming, all of a sudden, and therefore what? They are muktzeh. L'shenkin baisos, what are called the home ones? Kol sheyotes v'rois, chutz l'tchum, u'bois v'lones b'toch ha'tchum. Any animal that goes out of the tchum during the day, and every night, like a good girl, lones b'toch ha'tchum, comes home to sleep at home, they are called the baisos. They are the home ones. Okay, very nice. These are the definitions. So says Tanakam in the Brisa. Rabbi comes and argues. It's the same Rabbi that we're dealing with. Remember, Rabbi is now on the radar. Is Rabbi like Rabbi Shimon or is Rabbi like Rabbi Yehuda? This is going to be very, very fine-tuned over here. Rabbi says, Elu ve'elu baisos, meaning both of them are considered as home animals, meaning even the ones that are half a year out of the house, the entire summer, they're still called home animals. And if they come home, I may shecht them. They're still considered part of the house. Half a year, it's a summer camp. The Eil and Midborios, you know who are called Midborios that are out of the house, that are Muktzeh, out of my mind, out of sight, out of mind. You know who? Kol Sherois Ba'afar, those who are roy that graze in the meadow, in the glen, in the meadow. Wow. Those animals that belong to me, I'm the farmer or whoever, Jack. And what? These animals are always out of the house. I mean, I bring them when I want them. But conceptually, the Pashut live out of the house in a dorm, outside the house, the whole time in the meadow. They are called the Midbarios, and they are considered as what? As Muktzeh. So l'chorah, what do you see? Rebbe is participating in this discussion, and he's basically defining what's midborius and what is baisos. If Rebbe was such a believer, like we think over here, of Rabbi Shimon, he shouldn't care. According to Rabbi Shimon, this whole discussion just doesn't begin, because what did we say? Rabbi Shimon has his exceptions. Okay, Muktzeh mitzvah, for the animal to be out of the house, right? Muktzeh machmas gufa, yeah, whatever. Not machmas gufa, because on Yom Tov you can shech them. They're not machmas gufa. On Shabbos they are, not on Yom Tov, because you can shech them. They're not machmas gufa. They're food, yummy. Yeah, v'chule. They're not mechesron kis. They're not muktzeh. So you see, Rebbe holds a Rabbi Yehuda. Answers the Gemara 3 different answers. Ibai seima hani nami kegrogas v'tzmukin damian. Wow, meaning really, and this is exactly what I had it only when I saw the sugi in Beitza. I learned both. That's exactly what Rebbe is telling them over there. I really hold of Rabbi Shimon, he says. Yeah. But even according to Rabbi Shimon, an animal that's out of the house the entire year and is far away, and says Rashi over here, it's a big tircha to bring it up into the house. It's like a gorgos v'tzimukim. Just like, yeah, unbelievable. Even though they're not becoming worse than inedible, that's true, I know. But the equivalent of inedible is very far away. The animal is not right next door. The animal mamish lives, it's a big tircha to start schlepping the animal to the house. So the fact that the animal is out of touch, out of sight, out of mind for a long time, and it's my decision, and the animal is so far away for such a long time, that gufa, even Rabbi Shimon would agree, is called mut, because of the tircha of bringing them. Yes, because I put them there, or they're there with my haskama. I let them. I don't think Yadai means to push them physically. I hear what you're saying. But yeah, they went with my haskama. They didn't run away. I'm happy. I sent my farmer, my shepherd to take them, whatever. But they're there with my haskama, with my rotten, and it's so, not all Terutzim agree with it, but we have to understand the teretz. Plus, it's so hard to bring it back. It sounds like the wine cellar, I keep that wine right next door, and I'll just put it back. I'll take it in a minute. It's just my decision to use the wine in my son's bar mitzvah. It's more technical and harder and bigger, and that's good for what Rabbi's mechanish. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's stuck even according to Rabbi Shimon. The Ibai Sema, second answer. L'dvov the Rabbi Shimon ka'amar le v'lei lo svir le. Easy answer. When there's Rav Shimon and Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon bar Rebbe, in other words, when Rebbe's son asked him, Tati, what would you say? What would Rabbi Shimon say? He does me the hold of Rabbi Shimon. Could be Enochinami. The real Rebbe is the one from Beitza. He holds a Rabbi Yehuda. Here, his son asked him theoretically, listen, father, in theory, what would Rabbi Shimon say? Right? How many times do Ashkenazi and Re'echim talk about what would Rav Avadia say? We don't follow Rav Avadia. We don't follow him. I don't follow him because I happen to be Ashkenazi. But of course, you can talk within his shitas, right? Avada. Avada. Right? So he doesn't hold that way, but he does mean he's really Rabbi Yehuda and he holds up Rabbi Yehuda. The boy Sema, a third answer. Actually, now the opposite answer. Now the third answer is being extreme. No, he really is a Rabbi Shimon follower, Rabbi. Over there in Beitza, he only spoke according to their terms. You want to ask me what I think? I don't hold of Muktzeh, meaning, of course, he holds of Muktzeh. I don't hold of Muktzeh as much as you guys like Rabbi Yehuda. I'm a Rabbi Shimonik. For me, all these animals are not Muktzeh ever. They can fly to outer space. They're not Muktzeh, even though it's far away. According to you, at least admit to me, agree with me, that those animals that are out of the house for half a year, they're still called home animals. half year in, half year out. It's still called a home animal. The Rabbanan Amrulei Loi Midborius Ninu, and Rabbanan argued that they're called Midborius. They're called the out of house ones. They are the desert ones, meaning they're ones out of the house, and they are Muktzeh according to Rabbi Yehuda. And the discussion was according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi participated as kind of devil's advocate, but he didn't hold of that. Maybe he really holds Rabbi Shimon. So we're not clear. So we don't know if Rabbi, right? Nothing's clear yet. Rabbi could be holding either Rabbi Shimon or like Rabbi Yehuda. Now the next person, the next Heilige Amoira, I meant to say, Malochim. The next Amoira that we're going to discuss, meaning the next Amoira whom we're going to discover his opinion about is he Rabbi Shimon or pro Rabbi Yehuda, is Rabbi Yochanan. Omar Rabbi Bachana, Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Yeah, Rabbi Yochanan. Yeah, Rabbi Bachana is quoting Rabbi Yochanan to be saying, Omru. Rabbi Yochanan says, listen carefully to the word. Rabbi Yochanan says, Omru Bnei HaYeshiva, says Rashi. That the Bnei HaYeshiva said, Rabbi Yochanan quotes Bnei HaYeshiva, Alocha Rabbi Shimon. It's a little bit ambiguous, yeah? It sounds like he's like Rabbi Shimon, but he says, I know the Bnei HaYeshiva hold like Rabbi Shimon. So at the moment, we think that Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rabbi Shimon. He's quoting them as an authority. They say, yeah, the Yeshiva Shavel, the Yeshiva people, they hold Rabbi Shimon as halacha, that we don't hold of Muktzeh L'chumer. Frag the Gemara, Umi Amar Rabbi Yochanan Hachi, did Rabbi Yochanan really say that? Rabbi Yochanan saying that? I'm going to read your ritzvah soon. Unbelievable ritzvah. Yeah, Umi Amar Rabbi Yochanan Hachi, did Rabbi Yochanan really say that? What? That halacha is like Rabbi Shimon and there's no Muktzeh? Listen to the following case. Very, very fascinating case. There was the Saba, an elderly man, a Chacham. Yeah, either his name was Kiruya, the Amrele Seruya, or his name was Seruya, and he asked to Rabbi Yochanan. The question was as follows: Kina shel tarnagoyles, a can of tarnagoyles, a chicken, not a chicken coop. It's more like where the tarnagoyles lay their eggs. Yeah, let's say some kind of nest. They don't really nestle. Yeah, some kind of nest of a surface where the tarnagoyles, the rooster, the chicken, that's where they live, that's where they run around, that's where they are. Mahu l'tiltula b'Shabbos. Are you allowed to carry it on Shabbos? Yes or no? And you know what? I'm not going to even tell you what the question is. No, I think I'll spoon feed you a little bit. Mahu l'tiltula b'Shabbos is, yes, I will tell you. I will tell you what they say in the Rishonim. I think it's a ritzvah also in a certain few places. The question is as follows. Again, I want to take you back to another sugi of Rabbi and Rabbi Shimon in Daf Lamed Hey and Lamed Vav. I don't know if we did it together. I think it was a weekend or Pesach or something. Daf Lamed Hey and Lamed Vav, there's a very, very important piece of Gemara which I mentioned yesterday in passing, and that's actually a very, very good sugi to remember because it talks about two different instruments with a different la'aloch, a shofar and a chatzotzah. We spoke about it a few days ago. A shofar is klish melachta le'isur, right? Because it's for blowing. Elamai, you can also quite lechatchila use it also as a baby bottle. I don't know percentage, let's say 70-30, maybe it's more for blowing, but it's quite normal to use it as a baby bottle back then. A chatzotza is a trumpet. There's nothing you can do with the trumpet except for playing it, except for trumpeteering. Yeah. So now, according to Rabbi Yehuda, then we have a concept like that. Rabbi Yehuda holds that if an item has another usage, for sure over there in Rashi and Daf Lamed Vav, you can look it up later maybe. If an item has other usages, such as baby bottle, which are good and kosher, then you can move it l'tzarech gufa mekoymo on Shabbos. But if it's only made for trumpeting and nothing else, then it's like eitzim v'avonim that you can use. It's not a kli except for just for Isser. There's nothing else that's normal to be done with, and therefore you can't move it bichlal, even gufa mekoymo. Okay. So now the question is the kin shelter and the goyles, the chicken's surface, the chicken home, the chicken coop or the can. So that place, is that considered to be like as if there is other usages or not? Is that like a shofar or is that like a trumpet? Yeah. And the Ritva says letzorech gufa, letzorech mekoymo. Yeah. The Tosfos Rosh says, is it allowed to carry like shlish melachta le'isul, or is it like a trumpet or mita sheich de lemois, which we spoke about before? Remember, we said that mita, once it's designated for money, once it's your money drawer, that's it. It has no other usage. I'm not sure why, but that's the way they used it. They turned the bed into just for money, maybe because money is important, In other, it's like a trumpet. It's like something that has no usage whatsoever. How do you view the chicken coop? The nafkamina is l'tzorch gufay mekoymon. So far, I can say Rabbi Shimon is not involved, but that was a question. Is it like a kli shemlachto leisu, like azoy, like a shofar, like a pencil? I don't know. I don't know, pencil, I don't know. Or is it like a trumpet? There's nothing else you can do with it, and therefore you cannot move it for gufay mekoymon. So then, what did you say? Omalei. Now comes the answer very clearly. The only purpose that it has, it is what? Is only Tonegoilin. Yeah, it's only meant for Tonegoilin. Therefore, you're not allowed to use it because the one and only purpose is chicken only. Nothing else you're going to do with it. Maybe because it's disgusting. I don't know. Lamaisa, it's only meant for Tonegoilin. It's not meant for any other use. It's 100% for the chicken family use. It says Rashi, Aval Malachtu le'isur. I'm not sure what Rashi means le'isur. Maybe means to say because the Tonegolim are themselves Muktzeh, Alma Isle Muktzeh. One thing you see for sure, Rabbi Yochanan talks here like Rabbi Yehuda, right? You told me Rabbi Yochanan said, Bnei Yeshiva said like Rabbi Shimon. You see, no. You see that because according to Rabbi Shimon, that's not true, this rule. According to Rabbi Shimon, over there actually, in Daf Lamed Vav, according to Rabbi Shimon, even the Chatzotzra, according to Rabbi Shimon, is considered to be also same thing. You're allowed to move it for Gufa Mekoimim. He does make the difference. So you see, you hold like Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yochanan, and not like Rabbi Shimon. Answers the Gemara, and you know the story over here is there's a dead chick right there. Why is there a dead chick? Yeah, what are we marviach from that? I'm going straight to the Ritva. The Ritva says something unbelievable. I kissed the Sefer when I saw it because it gave me so much clarity. Isbe efloach meis means as follows. When there is an efloach that's dead over there, yeah, first of all, the general idea is it's a bossis. Really, I hold like Reb Shimon. I hold like Reb Shimon. And in general, chicken coop, no, you can be metalta for gufa mekoimoy. Because Reb Shimon always believes in gufa mekoimoy. And Rabbi Yochanan is the chassid of Reb Shimon. So why did he say that this is only for Ternegoilin? He meant that there's a dead efroach, there's a dead chick over there right now. But then the Rishonim ask, market Islu, market Islay, each one asks, if it's a dead efroach, why not saying that it's live? A live chick is also Muktzeh on Shabbos. Why do you have to kill the efroach? Yeah, a live one is also bossis as long as it's jumping around there. Listen to the unbelievable Ritva. Says the Ritva, this has to be inside. Yeah, he says the Havana of the Gemara was. I'm saying first about that. The Havana of the Gemara was that we're talking about something more kavua for the entire Shabbos. A live chicken, if it wasn't there ben Hashmoshes, once it's out, how long does the live chick stay there? It keeps running around. It's like 3 years old, yeah? So it's not permanent. We wanted to create a matzav of basis of the entire Shabbos because it's froach meses mukta. That's for sure. It's a dead animal. Yeah. And what you may discuss why it's not good for the klovim to eat. We'll discuss later. Let's assume now. I'll leave it for later. Let's assume now the dead animal is mukta. Mukta. And I want to create a situation which the entire Shabbos is mukta because nobody will move the dead froach, right? Therefore, it's basis, and that's why Rabbi Shimon says it's osir. Frek the Ritva. Now, 2 questions. Do you want me to read inside? Yeah. Because he says that there was an face. What's the question? What was the question of the old man, of the Choshev mensch to Rabbi Yochanan? Why is he bothering with Sam girl questions? Don't you know about bosses? What's the question? If there was a dead chicken on the thing, dead chick, don't you know of bosses? Then if you just forgot it there, as you mentioned a few days ago, it's not there on purpose, then you're allowed to move it with your arm or move it like a derech nior, and it's okay. And if you put the dead chicken, you put it there to bury it, and then of course it's bosses. What's the question? And an even bigger question, he said it's only made for Tanagolim. What does that have to do with the existence of the dead chicken there, right? It's made for Tanagolim. Ma kesher. He answers, he says that is the question. The question was as follows, unbelievable. When I have a dead chick in my dining room sofa, dining room table, that's shocheach. Nobody puts a dead chick on the dining room, yeah? And therefore it's a shocheach. I can't move it, I can move the table, I can tilt the table, it's not bosses. When a dead chick dies in the chicken coop, that's good for the shaila. Is it like meniach? Because that's a proper place. Where do you accept chicks to die? In their home, in the hospital, in the army base. Of course, that's where they die. Or maybe no, maybe it's considered only as shocheach. Came the answer. and oselaton goylim. Because this chicken coop is meant for them to live and to die and to do everything, the manner that's called meniah. It's meant for Tenegol. That's where they live, that's where they die, and that's where they dance horror. That's what they do what they do the whole lives. And Mimela, that's the answer. It's not called the real bosses, because that's where the chicken's supposed to live and die. It's not called shocher. That's its place of death. That's where it's expected. Now comes the other question on the side, but they were showing him, according to Rabbi Shimon, if the animal died in the middle of Shabbos, you can give it to who? To the dogs to eat. So why is that called muktzeh? And we saw before already by David the Melech, allowed to cut in the vela, right, to give it to the klovim. Rashi says many of them say more or less all the same, they say no. That's only true if the froach was dying before Shabbos. And I planned that, in the middle of Shabbos, and it's going to die, I'm going to give it to the dogs. But She'enken, this chick was a very gezunte chick. Everything was good. And what does Rabbi Shimon say about something if I expect the entire Shabbos for thing to be alive? That's like the big candle. Yes. Then Rabbi Shimon says it is muktzeh if it dies in the middle of Shabbos. Yes. Remember Rabbi Shimon from the big candle? Same thing over here. So therefore, over here, because the froach here was very much healthy, was very good and well and healthy before Shabbos, and he died suddenly, it's muktzeh. Because we see that if something's supposed to be alive or burning or whatever the whole Shabbos, and surprisingly it stops in the middle of Shabbos, even according to Rabbi Shimon, it's muktzeh. Unexpected events are muktzeh according to Rabbi Shimon. It's the third time we're seeing. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so far so good. However, yeah, it's okay according to Mar Bar Meimar on behalf of Rav, the Omar. As I just told you, according to one opinion, yeah, Mar Bar Meimar, yeah, B'Shem Rav, Ba'alechaim that died in the middle of Shabbos are also, if it suddenly died, unexpected, then it's muktzeh. So that chick is dead. The whole thing is bossis, because it's meant to die there in the bossis, in the chicken coop. Good. Elal Ma'abred Rav Yosef Mishmei de Rove, the Omar, according to the other opinion of Rove, the Omar Cholokoy Rabbi Shimon Afilu B'Balachim Shemeisu Shen Mutorin. I don't know why. I have to admit, this one I was looking. I don't know the reason why, but this opinion holds that even Balachim who died unexpectedly in the middle of Shabbos, they're not muktzeh. I don't know why, how that stems with an air. It's one point in the Omud which I'm not too sure about, but this is basically what we say. So what's the problem? In other words, a dead chick in the middle of Shabbos, Mazel Tov, give it to your dogs to eat, give it to the cats to eat. Why is it muktzeh? Elamai, oh, another answer. That chicken coop is of itself, avada, is not muktzeh. Why isn't it muktzeh? Avada, because why? Because, right, what do we say? We hold like Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon holds that there's no muktzeh. And we hold the Rabbi Shimon because it's Rabbi Yochanan. Elamai, there's an egg, a new egg, Mazel Tov, cutie. A new egg was born in the middle of Shabbos. Oh, now I want to stop. Chaval, he's not here because he asked the question yesterday and I was a bit confused. Here the Gemara is tackling the issue. According to Rabbi Shimon, who doesn't hold of muktzeh, would he hold of noilad or not? According to, at this point, and the Ritva explains why, we say yes, meaning, although Rabbi Shimon doesn't hold of muktzeh, he holds of noilad. And the answer is quite simple. Why? Muktzeh means I have a candle, I have this, kavana, shmavana, but the item is there when Shabbos came in. Says Rabbi Shimon, it's not muktzeh. And noilad, it's a whole new item. It was zero, didn't exist when Shabbos came in. The chicken wasn't in the world when it came. It laid the egg on Shabbos itself, Shari Tzedek. In the middle of Shabbos, that's where it laid the egg. It didn't exist b'chlal in the world. So that even Rabbi Shimon holds that noilad is a problem. And Mimela, we must make an ukimta that there's a beitza there, born in the middle of Shabbos, laid in the middle of Shabbos. Mimela, very good. Even Rabbi Shimon would hold this is noilad, and the whole thing is probably bossis as well. Yeah. I fake the Gemara. We're just now. Let's ruin the fun. Rav Nachman, but Rav Nachman holds otherwise. The beginning of Beitza, and he says, "Man de isle muktzeh, isle noilad, de leisle muktzeh, leisle noilad." We said a very nice svara. It's not me. I promise it's a ritva. But Lamaisa, no. Rav Nachman holds that there's more of a general approach, right? And we have what? We have whoever holds of muktzeh hold of noilad, whoever doesn't hold of muktzeh doesn't hold of noilad, which means we're stuck again because now Rabbi Shimon, who doesn't believe in muktzeh being a problem, he doesn't think noilad is a problem either. And if noilad is not a problem, you can't say there's an egg and the egg creates a problem. And so why did Rabbi Yochanan say that it's a problem to move the chicken coop? You want to tell me Rabbi Yochanan holds what? Like Rabbi Yehuda? Bad. Rabbi Yochanan said, the Bnei Yeshiva said like Rabbi Shimon. I'm repeating the whole thing. Yeah, Chabgadia. Answers the Gemara, the Isbe Beitza Sefroyach, final answer. We're talking about a third option. Nobody's dead, Baruch Hashem. There's a chicken, there's an egg there with an efrach inside alive that didn't yet hatch. Yeah, there's a beitza with a frog inside, with a chicken inside. What are we getting there? Machlekes Rashi and Tosfos. Yeah, you want to see inside? Yeah, I know you like you. Efrach says the Rashi. Yeah, right near where we are. The isbe beitza sefroach the kelev lo ochilo mishum klipa. Let me explain. The Ritva explains more. This is like stones and sticks. Meaning, a person cannot eat a chick that wasn't hatched. This is Shabbos, not Yom Tov. Yeah? And even Yom Tov, I'm not sure you can shecht it exactly. The whole thing, you can't shecht it even on Yom Tov. I think it's a problem. Yeah? And therefore what? For meat's not edible. What about the dog? We're now holding in the sheet that says what? In the middle of Shabbos, you may feed the dogs. Yeah? From animals that now came up. The dogs won't eat it, says Rashi, because there's a klipa. From some reason, a dog is, I don't know, would not overcome the shell. And as long as the egg is shelled, the dog won't eat it. So who is it good for? Nobody. So what is it like? Muktzeh machmas gufoy, sticks and stones. Muktzeh machmas gufoy, according to Rabbi Shimon, is also. Says Tosfos, look inside. This beitza sefroyach, says Tosfos, nir l'rid osor l'Rabbi Shimon mishum the kemed is befroch hadik mo grois vetzimukim. Wow, unbelievable. Because it's supposed to hatch, and as long as it didn't hatch, it's really bad. I don't know what's going in there, but as long as it's developing, I want it one sunny day to come out a nice chick, cutesy with that yellow fluffy thing. As long as it's inside, it's not good. It's a grogus vitzimukim, dichu beyadayim. There's an in-between stage where it's not edible. Yeah, and by the way, now what he says later is like the Ritva, but the question of meniach versus shochach. Anyway, so that's the answer. So let's summarize. Even according to what we said, Rashi at the end of Beitza. That's according to Rashi. I don't know if this is agreed to that. That concept I told you Shem Rashi. This is
otherwise, what is it tomorrow? And
the other differences. The other Shanu explained differently. I don't remember what, but other explanations. Very nice. You're holding. I hear a cheshbon, but there are two different. There were two and four. I'm sorry. I apologize, but there are other explanations to differentiate tomorrow. If I remember, I made the mitzvah. Tomorrow, what is really the difference? Because no, whatever. To be, if I have time today, I'll look at it. So far, we have maintained we managed to make Rabbi Yochanan survive with holding the Rabbi Shimon, right? And the whole business with the beitza, we always made a nukimt at the end of the day. The etzem chicken coop, no, it's not muktzeh just because it's meant for chicken. It's dover shemlish malachto leisur at best. And it's like any other klish malach lister. You may move it through gufa mekoymai. What? Yeah, like Rabbi Shimon, because we rule Rabbi Yochanan is Rabbi Shimonik. Elamai. Why do we say not to move it bechlal? Because there's a real severe muktzeh there, beitza sefroach, which is the basis for the whole thing. Now comes the completely different, the opposite direction. Also, Yitzchak bar Yosef. Remember the name because you'll again refer to him again and again. Yitzchak bar Yosef came and said, "Omar Rabbi Yochanan halachak Rabbi Yehuda." Boom. Outright. Halach is like Rabbi Yehuda, there is muktzeh, and therefore the chicken coop clearly muktzeh completely, muktzeh. I hold it to Rabbi Yochanan holds, halach like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon Levi Omar, halach like Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon Levi but he came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel. Because you'd see the common denominator between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon Levi, they were Meroim from Eretz Yisrael. Right? So he says, the big news, what's the hot news from Eretz Yisrael? That Rabbi Yochanan says like Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon Levi says like Rabbi Shimon. Of course, we're focusing right now on Rabbi Yochanan. He's the focus of our attention right now. Omar Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef heard that in Bavel and he was very happy and he said, Hainu the Omar Rabbi Bar Bar Chana, Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Amru halachik Rabbi Shimon. Amru v'leila svir alei. He says everything is good, right? Makes sense. Rabbi Shimon, even according to our previous move in the sugya, he never said, I think halacha is like Rabbi Shimon. I know that the yeshiva people, they said halacha is like Rabbi Shimon. What did he say? They say so. You ask me, you're allowed to eat chazir? They say you can't eat chazir. What do you mean? Yeah. Mashma that he himself doesn't hold that way. So where we're holding right now, according to Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef, really Rabbi Yochanan holds, halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosef. Abai is now asking Rabbi Yosef, as many times he challenges him, don't don't you know, even before Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Yosef, why are you so excited by the news of Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Yosef? Even before he came, don't you know that Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rabbi Yehuda? I'll tell you a story that clearly proves that Rabbi Yochanan is like Rabbi Yehuda, even without the big news from Yitzchak Bar Yosef. Because listen to the following story. Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Asi, these again Talmidim of Rabbi Yochanan, they're all in Eretz Yisrael. You know, Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Asi, all Eretz Yisrael, the people. Eretz Yisrael Meiroim. Iklu lebe Rabbi Abba de min Haifa. They came to the house of Rabbi Abba of Haifa. V'nafel menalta al glim de Rabbi Asi. A menorah, let's accept it for now. A menorah, we know it's a menorah in Hebrew. A menorah, it's a bigger, like a candelabra, it's a bigger candle. It's a much, much bigger candle, like a menorah, like a big business, big thing, big furniture. And it fell on the glima, it fell on the carpet, on the robe of Rabbi Asi. And he didn't carry the robe from, not the robe, he didn't carry the menorah. The menorah was lit. Let's assume now the menorah was on until a certain point. Hopefully he was off by the time it fell on his clothes, he didn't burn. And now you tell me, what's the most classical machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, which we saw all along? A nail that was on was burning, then out, right? According to Rabbi Shimon, go ahead and use it, right? No problem. Even if it's mitzad, cheres, shmelach tolisu, no problem. Machmas mius, there's no problem, right? And also mitzad what? That he was lit in Ben Moshes. I don't care about Ben Moshes. All is good. And here we have Rabbi Asi, and he holds, no. Even though the ner or menorah are what? Are off, are out. I cannot carry them. I can't move them from my clothes. He didn't take his jacket from underneath. My time. Why is that? Lab mishum Rabbi Asi talmid Rabbi Yochanan. Isn't it because Rabbi Asi is a talmid of Rabbi Yochanan have Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yehuda svirle this Muktzeh? If I see Rabbi Yochanan's talmid behaving so clearly pro Rabbi Yehuda, not moving a menorah, which we think is the same as candle after it's out, then what do we see? Is clearly like Rabbi Yehuda that holds a Muktzeh. Omar lei Sanani answered. Rabbi Yosef is answering Abaye. Menalta ka'omart. You're talking about the menorah. Menorah shiny. Menorah is different. First of all, there are two factors here at least. The main factor is menorah is much bigger. It's not even bigger mitzad staying longer on Shabbos. That's not the point. Menorah is so big that menorah is a piece of furniture that you keep in the room and it's not meant to be moved. It's a type of muktzeh, which by the way, I don't think exists la halacha. You have something that just meant to stay where it is as a piece of furniture. How often do you move your dining room table? When there's a Sheva Brochus and Sukkot, I don't know how you live, yeah? You don't move it all the time, like you move your hat, I don't know, your Gemara, right? So that's not called a kli. And even Rabbi Shimon holds it. Because that piece of furniture fell, and it's meant to stand there on the side and never to be, not never, but hardly to be removed, except next time you clean for Pesach, that is of itself, even according to Rabbi Shimon, is considered to be what? A muktzeh. Yeah, because of its big size. Let's see what we say. And then there are other factors as well. Damar Bacha Bar Chanina Omar Basi. Rish Lakish Betzidan, we're going to support that. Rish Lakish gave a hoiro, the Heilige Rish Lakish, he gave a psak in Tzidan, in a town called Tzidan. Menoiro, now we're going to talk about size. Menoiro niteles beyodoi achas mutar letaltela. A menorah that can be carried with one hand is not such a kavua set thing. You're still allowed to carry it on Shabbos. If you carry it with your two hands, it's so heavy, you need to carry it with both hands like a table, then you're not allowed to carry it on Shabbos Bichlal. And so says Rish Lakish, and it has nothing to do with Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Shimon, even according to Rabbi Shimon. Yeah, because that's tam. It's a mitzad muktzeh of being set aside. That's Rish Lakish. But here comes the main point. Here comes the main point, and that is, we're going to see Rashi and Tosfos, and that's how Rabbi Yochanan views the issue, because we're talking about Rabbi Yochanan, right? The star here right now is Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan Omar, Anu ein lanu ela bener ki Rabbi Shimon. All we know is we hold the only heter we have is ner according to Rabbi Shimon. There are two ways to explain it. The maskana, the real emes is we hold in ner like Rabbi Shimon, meaning that ner mos, an old ner that was lit once from cheres. As Shabbos comes in, it's already doesn't smell nice, right? It's ner mos. Here, Rabbi Shimon allows to use it. Yes, only Rabbi Yehuda was the one who didn't allow. The only kula we have is we're making like Rabbi Shimon regarding ner muktzeh machmas mius. But that's the only, within the whole matter of tiltur nero, says Rashi, big ones, small ones, the only thing a hold of a kula is Rabbi Shimon with a ner that was once used and now used again, no problem, machmas mius. Aval menoiro, yeah, comes to menorah, which is the furniture, he's more machmir than Resh Lakish, and he says, Beinit lebiyodo achas, beinit lebishteyodov, also letaltilo. A menorah, either you carry it with one hand, even more machmir than Resh Lakish, right? Or two hands, because it's a furniture that you set aside, he can't carry it. Why is that? Finally, we're going to see the reason I told you all the time. Now, let me explain let's see, Rashi, everything fits in very nicely. So let's just, up until now, where did we get until almost till the end? We said really, we're trying to say that really, Rabbi Yosef says, I wasn't sure if Rabbi Shlakish, if Rabbi Yochanan holds a Rabbi or Rabbi Shimon, right? I was very happy to hear the news that really it's clear now that Rabbi Yochanan is like Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Because from this statement of Ein lanu el ben elke Rabbi Shimon, stated by Rabbi Yochanan, there are two ways to explain it. Let's see Rashi. And he's happy he got the clarification from Rabbi Tzchak bar Yosef. Look at the last Rashi, El ben El, yeah? Yoshan ke Rabbi Shimon demati, Rabbi Menor, v'chulei, Hilkach, yeah? Ilaven de Rabbi Yitzchak lo hava yadana lei, aval hashta yadana de ki Rabbi Yehuda svira lei bekulu bar mimuktzeh machmas mius dener Yoshan. Let me explain, yeah? You see what Rashi says? He says like this. Up until now, when he says en el bener ki Rabbi Shimon, what did he mean? Maybe he meant we hold everything in there like Rabbi Shimon, all the kulas of ner, even after it's out, everything we hold ner like Rabbi Shimon. Only menorah b'shtei yadayim yadachas we hold that is osur because that's nothing to do Rabbi Shimon. Here comes Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef says no hashtei yadana that really holds a Rabbi Yehuda in all matters of neiros. The only thing he holds a Rabbi Yehuda is machmas mius bener yosh. That is what is new. That's what's new now for Rabbi Yosef. Yeah. Again. Let's summarize. Came big news from Eretz Yisrael. You know what's the final psak according to Rabbi Yochanan? He holds like Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yosef is overjoyed and very nice. And he's bringing rice. Says about, didn't you know it? Anyways, don't you know that in the case of menorah, we know that if the menorah, the big menorah, fell on Rav Asi's cloak and he didn't move it, must be that he holds like Rabbi Yehuda. Because otherwise, the candle that's out, right? According to Rabbi Shimon, you can remove it. You see, he didn't remove it, so you know that he holds a Rabbi Yehuda, right? So what's the big news exactly? Says Rabbi Yosef, it's big news. Why? Two reasons. First of all, mitzad the ma'aseh itself doesn't mean anything. Because the fact he didn't move the menorah doesn't reflect on a ner. A ner is one machloikes. Menorah has another issue completely. Nothing to do with fire or a regular muktzeh. It's just so big, it's a piece of furniture, people just keep it aside. They put it in the corner of the house. They're not supposed to move it back and forth. That's why he didn't move it. But there's a statement of Rabbi Yochanan that says, Ein lanu bener ki Rabbi Shimon. So we see Adrabah, we see the ner is like Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Yochanan. So it's not so simple at all, like you're saying about him. And I didn't know how far does he go with the ner like Rabbi Shimon. Does he always believe in ner like Rabbi Shimon or only muktzeh machmas mius? Now that I heard a clear statement, not just the Maisa, I hear a clear statement from the news from Yitzchak bar Yosef that really Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rav Yehuda. Very good. He holds like Rav Yehuda 90% of the time. And then when he said Anu enu b'ner ki Rabbi Shimon, he meant only one exception to that rule, muktzeh machmas mius. That's what Rashi said. Very good. Yes. Okay. Beseder, shkoyach. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Thursday, Bezos Hashem. So Kilos Chasanim. Tomorrow we're going to talk about beds. Bezos Hashem will be good. Klal Yisrael will have tremendous issues very soon. Thank you. Atzlocha, Vrocha, Si Mashiach. Have a great night.